Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the She's Next Level podcast. Today, I have a very special friend that I'm so excited to dive deeper into this topic about all around female friendships. Gabby, I'm so excited that you're
So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
here. Of course, of course. I've been wanting to talk to you about this for a while now, like especially ever since you had created a podcast episode around friendships in your own podcast. And ever since listening to it and then noticing like even our friendship dynamic, you've taught me so much about friendships and like really raised the standard for me when it comes to friendships and like the way that I would have never thought of before. So I thank you for that. And I also notice how great of a communicator you are. And I do feel like that's probably one of the foundations when it comes to friendships or any kind of relationship. And I know it's funny because it's like your soul gift, but it's my mastery. So it's like it's been a great little dynamic for me. But I just really wanted to dive deeper into this with you because I feel like noticing your life and the way that, some of the friends that we have in common, like you've really developed the kind of friendships that are so healthy and so easy and effortless. It seems to be that way. And I also know like a little bit, I don't know everything about your backstory around getting to that, but that's what I kind of want to go into. And also just get to know you on a deeper level around this and help all of my podcast listeners around how to like navigate female friendships, like adult friendships in general, particularly female friendships, and how can we navigate and cultivate more closeness and more connection without losing ourselves or without feeling like we need to prove ourselves to be worthy of receiving that love and feel safe in our friendships while also like living our crazy busy lives, but then still having that closeness and that support that as females, honestly, it's in our biological nature to have that. So, anyways, enough of my blabbering. I want you to introduce yourself really quickly for anyone that's new that doesn't know who you are. I know that you're like the manifestation queen over here. And so you've definitely manifested a lot in this category of life. And so, yeah, just introduce yourself to everybody. And then I want to dive right in.
Love it. Well, thank you for the beautiful welcome, Darsh. My name is Gabby. And yes, I love manifestation. I love intuition. I love, love, love my friendships. And it was not an easy path to get here, but it definitely paid off. So I'm very excited for this episode. And I love helping you guys create what it is you want in life.
Amazing. Okay. So before we get into any of the juicy questions that I have for you in this conversation, I would love to know actually like your backstory around this whole like friendship thing. And I'd love to know, like, when was it in your life, the moment that you realized that the friendships that you have, like, you're not 100% fulfilled with, and that you want to improve this area of life so that you can feel more fulfillment, more joy, more love in the kind of friendships that you have for yourself. Like, I want you to like take me back on my plane and like share like what was it like for you during that time? What was the realization that you had? Like what was the catalyst for this journey?
I love that question. How everything started is I almost never had friends at school. I don't know why. I don't know how. I just really didn't have friends at school. I had people I would hang out with, but it wasn't people I was ever really that close with. And I was only really close with my friends from church. And obviously, as we grow up, we get into different things, not really close with them anymore. When I was about probably 13, this was the first time that I remember consciously wanting friends because what had happened was a friend of mine from church invited all the other girls. Keep in mind, I've known her since I was like 3. She invited all the other girls to her birthday party, and she hadn't invited me yet. And it had been like 2 weeks. And everyone's like, "Oh, are you going to so and so's birthday party?" And I'm like, "Haven't got the invite yet." And it was just a whole situation where I realized, like, oh, these people aren't actually my friends. Because if they were my friends, they'd probably invite me to the party. They'd probably include me in all those types of things. And I think so that was age 13. And I really didn't have like a lot of friends after that. I would have a best friend here and there at the time, but every single time I would get a best friend Darsh, every single time something would happen where it would just all blow up. And I remember in high school, I had a really close friend I was close with for years, and I had finally started to build a friend group, and I had introduced her to the friend group, and somehow, some way, they didn't like my boyfriend. It was a whole thing. She kind of got everyone in the friend group to like disown me, basically.
Oh my god.
And then she ended up dating my ex. It was crazy. But all that said, that was another friendship wound for me. So basically, up until this was probably until I was 17 or probably, maybe even night. No, this was until I was literally 19 years old. I struggled with friendships. And if you remember in the podcast episode, I think it was 2016, where I really wanted to create solid friendships. This was a huge turning point. And because I didn't have a high enough view of myself to attract high quality friendships, I kind of quote unquote settled for the best of what I felt like I could get at the time. And that resulted in me doing a lot of misaligned things. So like getting into recreational drugs, like weed, like going to raves all the time, like staying up really late, like shit talking everything, like really not enjoying life. That's kind of the people who I started to hang around. And so that's kind of what was carrying me for a few years. But I found myself people pleasing every single day. I wasn't my authentic self. These people didn't want to see me win. It was always like a weird thing. If I would do well, then we weren't doing good as friends. But if I was doing bad in my life, then suddenly I have like the best friends in the whole wide world. So that was a huge turning point. But what really started shifting things for the better was getting into this work, getting into manifestation, learning that everything outside of us comes from what's going on inside of us. And so, slowly but surely, I started getting into this spiritual awakening, if you will, shifting how I view myself, shifting how I showed up every single day, and saying no to misaligned things, speaking up for myself if something felt awkward. And suddenly, literally 99.9% of all of my friends fell away.
And
But
that's it.
no,
That was all we needed. I'm just kidding. That was so
no,
good.
but here's the best part though. Here's the best part. I went a whole like either 8 months or a year, I don't even remember what it was, diving into healing myself, finding out my own interests, my things that I like, not relying on people outside of me to make me feel something. And within 8 months to like, I think it was like 8 months to a year, 8 months, I met my ultimate best friend in the whole entire world. Her name's Danielle, and we've been friends ever since. So it's been multiple years. That same year, I met another best friend named Sarah. That same, like the year after, I met another best friend, Allie, and then of course this year, I have met so many incredible friends, you included, through intuition, who I just so deeply love, so deeply vibe with, and in every fiber of my being, I'm my whole body is vibrating right now. Actually, it's so funny. I just love my friendship so much. Like you
And,
guys,
and that's the love. That's the kind of love that I want personally to feel because I'm still on this journey myself, but also I want people to feel because I don't really feel like I feel like with women, and I can totally, by the way, relate to your story because for me, it was a little bit different where it was like either I was fully myself, and you know me, I'm like batshit crazy, but I'm also really calm and chill. Like there's so many sides to me. And there was a part in my friendships where I was like that, and then I felt wrong for being that way. And I was felt like guilty and wrong for being the way that I am. And then there was the other side of my friendships where I didn't feel like I was good enough to be who I am because it just wasn't acceptable. Like people didn't think that that was acceptable for some reason. And again, going back to like it all comes back to you now knowing what I know, like it definitely means that. But I do feel like there's still a lot of nuances when it comes to cultivating like
mhm,
how we get there. And what I wanted to like touch upon is when I really notice and more and like the days go by, I notice how you and Daniel, like, just I can imagine all your other friendships, but just the cultivation of like your friendship with Danielle and how you guys are like, you guys support each other, like unconditional love no matter what. I feel like that's something that everybody wants, but I do also feel like there's been a societal programming around competition when it comes to friendships and female friendships. Like,
Mm-hmm.
feel like they need to be competitive and like this cattiness comes out, especially like you were saying when you were doing great, people weren't so happy about it because technically they made that mean something about them when it wasn't, and vice versa. And I'm not gonna lie, like I felt that way myself. I've compared a lot in my life and I'm still like navigating that and like way better than I was before, but I still find myself doing that in little ways. So then how, like, what do you believe, why do you believe adult friendships are a challenge, especially female adult friendships are a challenge for people nowadays? And what do you think people are afraid of when it comes to making new friends? Because I'm going to be real. I personally feel like since COVID, since 2020, a lot of people have become more introverted, especially as an entrepreneur. We're all here like working from home. So we're comfortable being home for the most part of our days and like, whatever we do. But I don't really feel like a lot of people are consciously making that time for creating new friends or cultivating more time into their friendships because we're so comfortable and like busy, it quote unquote busy in our own day-to-day lives. And I'm guilty of this, and that's why I want to know from you. What do we do here? Like, why?
Oh my gosh, Darsh, I love this question. And I did want to speak on the comparison in friendships and like trying to navigate all the quote unquote competition, if you will. I'm not
Yes.
even kidding you. A year and a half ago, Danielle actually made a new female friend. And at the time, I hadn't done any of this self image work. And I was bent up for like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, she's going to stop. It must have been 2 years. It was probably 2 or 2.5 years ago. I was like, oh, she's going to stop loving me. Like, we're not going to like FaceTime anymore. Like, she's going to like her more than me. Like, all of those thoughts came up when my bestest friend started making other friends. And what was cool about this, and I feel like this goes into the challenges of female friendships, is if you are not rooted to, aware of, and connected to the value that you bring to the table, you will feel insecure in friendships. You will not feel safe to be yourself. You will feel uncomfortable if people reject you. You will feel uncomfortable when your friends are making friends and you're going to feel like they're talking about you or like they're going to not love you and all those things. Like a true key to making aligned friendships and keeping them, even if you're introverted, I swear to God, just adopting this mindset will literally bring them into your life and attract them into your life, is understanding what you bring to the table and understanding how valuable, special, and unique you personally are. Because genuinely, nobody else is exactly like you. And once I noticed all those feelings coming up of like, oh, she's not gonna love me and like all those types of things, I had to get clear on like, okay, like why do I feel like that? And I'm like, is that girl anything like me? No. And I was like, okay, well, I have multiple friends. Does that mean that I love Danielle any less? And I was like, no. And I'm like, so why would she love me any less?
That's a
And
great
so,
point.
so for that too, not only getting rooted to my value, but just noticing that removing the competition piece of we all have multiple friends and we all love our friends for completely different reasons.
I think it's funny for me, like I want to be the friend that's chosen first over everybody across all friends that I have.
I
Because I'm
love it.
like, if I'm gonna be that bitch, like might as well go there.
Yeah. See, it starts with choosing you. And
I
honestly, Josh,
know it
you're
starts with
so
self love.
magnetic.
It starts with
Yes.
self prioritization, which I definitely, it's just next levels of self prioritization. And it's so funny because, like we both know from our trainings and like all the things that we've learned is that we have 8 different areas of life, right? And so it's funny how, like, for you, for example, like you can feel that way in friendship area of life, but then feel completely different in like family or career area or finances? Like, why is it that we sometimes feel like, okay, let's say that maybe I feel valuable to some extent, at least, to the very least. Then underneath that, why do we then feel like, and I know I have felt this way of like, I'm not doing enough to sustain this relationship or to
Mm.
relationship or to grow? Like, why do we still have that feeling of like, I'm not doing enough?
Oh my gosh, Darsh, that's an incredible question. This is honestly something that I've had to navigate too because I'm not the best at replying to text messages when they're sent to me. I'm kind of one of those, sometimes I reply immediately, but usually I'm going to reply a day and a half later. And that is something that I used to be so hard on myself for. Because, of course, that's not really how your friends want to be treated. That's not how you want to be treated. But at the same time, I think it's more so about knowing the intention behind why you're doing something. And I've definitely been in the place, I'm sure you have too, where you might reply to someone or you might do something that you said you would do, even if it doesn't feel great in the moment. Like, let's say, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, let's say my friend sends me an audio message. I
Mhm.
would love to listen to it right now, but I know that if I listen to it right now, my reply is going to be half assed because I'm stressed about this. I'm doing this. I'm literally walking out the door. So I'm going to save it until I know that I can sit down and give them the response that they deserve. And shifting that mindset from, oh, I'm not doing enough, like, oh, I should answer right now, like, oh my gosh, I feel guilty, like they're gonna think I don't love them, or like da 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 da, like they're gonna think I don't value the friendship, which is where I used to go. And then I beat myself up, feel guilty for it. I just
Mm.
remember the intention behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. So if I'm putting texts off, if I'm replying 2 or 3 days later, if I'm saying no to plans or postponing plans till the next day, I get rooted to my intention behind this is going to make their experience better. And that's an act of love towards them because that's how much I respect them. I don't want to give them anything that is less than my best.
I
And so,
love that. I love that. And something I noticed about you too is, and something that I've actually been like consciously, because you are the person, you end up being the type of person that you hang around, which is something that we'll get into later because I have a question around that. But I have noticed myself also, like, communicating in certain ways that you do, because I've seen the value in it of like at least letting people know, like, you don't have to let people know that, hey, I can't get back to you right now, but I'll get back to you later because I'm doing this. And I just feel like even something small like that has helped me also feel safe in, like, emotionally safe in relationships and friendships, but also like kind of keep that healthy dynamic in that friendship, because it's like, I'm not forgetting about you. You're still
yes,
fine. I'm not ignoring you, but this is like what's going on. And I just setting that, like, sending that fucking text, like one little fucking text. This is what I want to say to all the fucking people that have dropped off in my life, where I've had the same scenario that you used to have of like building up friendships, and then some shit happens and then they're out of my life, or I cut them off because I don't like the way they're behaving towards me, which may or may not be healthy, which we can talk about as well. But even if at least it was like there was a some type of communication piece for me, I would have felt more emotionally safe in that relationship, especially in the beginning. Because the thing is that as you grow and spend time in cultivating a friendship, you get to know more of that person, so you don't really like need so much from that person in a way. Like, you kind of have that, and so you're good. But in the beginning, I think even for me, and people feel like they have a hard time in the beginning stages of a friendship, like cultivating, like,
yes,
get from the beginning to like cultivating that closeness where it's just easy. Like, for example, my best friend, she's in Florida, and we used to talk all the time. She just had a baby and we barely talk anymore. But I also like, and she hasn't, like, watched any of my content or anything, or like whatever. I still love her so much because I know she's busy with the baby. I know she's doing the best that she can. And we have such like, we have so many memories and such a friendship dynamic built up, where it's like, I know that you still love me. I know you're still there, and I know, like, we're still good, as if before you even had the baby. So, I'd love to know, like, I guess with this topic, I guess like I want to know is what should people what should people look for when investing in friendships, and like
Mm.
decipher whether some like a friendship is worth their time or not, especially in the beginning stages, because I feel like that's where people really have a hard time of like determining like, what's worth it and what's not. And I know that communication is probably like a big piece in that too. And you're so good at that. I'm
Gosh, thank you so much. You're so sweet.
just spitting facts.
You know, honestly, for me now, well, okay, I'll give you guys two tips. The number one tip that I would give for attracting the people that you desire to attract to be friends with is being your authentic self in the beginning. Because you being who you are at in the beginning, like for example, me, I'm not the best texter. I'm pretty sporadic. And so if I meet someone, I don't go out of my way to like be extra for them because they're a new friend or like try to develop the relationship. I'm very much myself, and I do still communicate like, oh hey, like I'm not going to be on for 3 hours, or hey, I'm going to listen to this tomorrow. But what's cool is the more you own your authenticity in that way, and you know that the people who are going to stick and the ones who won't resonate won't. That has been really cool in actually making the friendships. But wait, will you repeat the other question? And then I want to.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, and for everybody listening, is what should we look out for like when it comes to investing in like friendships, where it's like whether it like this friendship is worth me investing more time into and cultivating versus like I don't think this is worth my time because I don't really think it's going anywhere, or like I don't really feel like I'm seeing even the reciprocation aspect, like
Mm.
people reciprocate differently, right? And I learned this recently with a friend that I had a tough conversation with, and then we ended up closer because of it. But it was like kind of like navigating that uncomfortable dynamic of like speaking up about how I was feeling with support and like reciprocity.
I love it.
People navigate that and like decipher when it's worth it, especially in this is like for new friendships, because I feel like
Mhm.
it could be for new and it could be for like friendships where it's like not there yet, like how you and Daniel are, or like how me and my best friend are. Like, how can people like navigate that where it's like worth it versus not?
I feel like it's going to be different for everybody because everybody is going to have different standards for what they prefer in a friendship. But for me personally, number one, I'm sure you feel this too. I will immediately get a feeling as to whether or not I'm going to vibe and get along with someone. Darsh, I'm not even kidding you. I still remember the first time that I saw you in a Q&A from like September of 2023 or 24, whatever it was. I think 2024. And I literally was watching you. I was like, holy fuck, I want to be friends with her. And I was like, I want to be friends with her. She's so cool. And you had only spoken one sentence. And then when you and I finally met up in Intuition, I was like, oh my God, were you in the Glow Formula Q&A number 3? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, like I remember you. Why did I remember you? I immediately felt like you are someone who I would want to be friends with. But for me, it's like authenticity is a huge piece. So you radiate authenticity. You radiate like I don't care what people think about me. I'm owning my authentic self. I'm taking up space. Like that is something where I'm like I don't care if you're the worst communicator on planet Earth. I still want to be in your energy, so you're still worth investing in my time.
Okay.
Other people, I'll get a sense. So, anyone who I've ever wanted to be friends with, there's something about them where I'm like, there's just this feeling inside of you, It's like this, ooh, they're interesting. Ooh, they're funny. Ooh, I like how they're speaking. Like, there's something about their energy that's like, I want to be their friend. But I've also had the situation of people that I've wanted to be friends with. If I want to be friends with them and then I text them and then they take on the first day and they take like 7 hours or 5 days to reply, I'm like, okay, I don't, that's kind of a turn off for me personally because I do like that communication. If you can't get back to me now, that's fine. But yeah, just let me know that you even got my message. Like, did I even text the right person? And to me, I know that I give 100% in my friendships, even if it doesn't look like other people's 100%. And so if I can feel that someone is giving me their 50 or 60% right off the bat, I'm like, okay, like maybe I'll feel it out for a little while. But you can usually tell within the first month or two if this is someone that you want to move forward with, just based off how they're making you feel, whether or not they're communicating, and also how you feel when you're with them and or speaking to them.
That's so interesting because I've had this thing where I have met people, like it's so easy for me to meet people, honestly. And I've even had moments where like I have thought of those things that you just listed of like how do I feel when I'm hanging out with them, right? And I've even had some of them treat me like for lunch and all of that, right? But somehow we still barely hang out or spend time
Mm.
together. And so I also find those kind of friendships interesting because I'm like, if you support me on Instagram, sure, like Instagram is not even that serious. But like you've taken me out before and you've treated me out for lunch or whatever when you didn't have to, or like if you enjoyed spending your time with me, then why wouldn't you want to hang out with me more? And I think about that sometimes, like when it comes to friendships,
Mm.
I'm real.
No, honestly, Darsh, I do too. My thing is like I love my alone time so much. So it doesn't really bother me anymore, but for me the quality of the experience, that's kind of what I'm looking for rather than like the frequency. I
Mm,
have
okay.
a lot yeah, I have a lot of people in my life who would like to hang out with me more, like, in real life, but it's not as high quality of an experience for me as if I was to, like, get on a Zoom with you or, like, fly to California well, you literally live by Danielle. Fly to California and see you guys or, like, hang out with my 2 closest friends, like, I don't have energy for that. I would rather, like, be alone and then just have experiences with my friends that I love. So whether it's in audio messages or text or Zoom, that's always more fun for me. But there does come a little bit of biting the bullet, I guess you would say, especially in the beginning. If you really want to hang out with someone, I am that person who I will bug you twice. I will bug you twice to hang out. And if you don't bite, then I'm leaving you alone forever. But if you do bite and I love the experience, okay, now I can do it again. Some people aren't the best at responding. It really depends for me though. And I feel like you could even use your intuition for this, Darsh. It's like there's something different about people who aren't able to communicate as well, but they love you so much and they would 100% hang out with you, 100% spend time with you, versus the other people who you're not even on their mind, right? Like they're not communicating. All they're thinking about is themselves or their life or like whatever. And I feel like that's a very different energy because even you, if I don't reply to your audio messages, I still have a mental check. I literally, even now, I have 4 people that I have a couple audio messages with that I haven't listened to yet. And I always have a running tally in my head of like, I'm going to get to this when I can. Versus other people, I can literally feel that you haven't thought about me in days. Like, I don't want to invest my time into this. Like,
Yeah. I think that's where I'm at with like drawing the fine line and like you know how you said about like the intention matters more than the frequency. So like I think for me that's where I'm kind of like in the navigation of that of like okay, like there's a I mean I have a lot of low maintenance friendships to be honest. Like a lot of quality friends I have where like they know I'm like committed to my purpose and so we don't really talk often, but the love is still there when we're there. But I have made an intention this year and I'm still going to continue to cultivate more closeness in my friendships and at least increase the frequency with my friendships because I lived a lot of my life focusing on work and even when I lived in New York and like I mean like New York I could have had so much fun in New York more than I ever did and I did have fun and I'm not going to like regret I don't really regret changing anything back then but I would say that I didn't spend as much time as I would have wanted to with my friendships because I prioritized my career more than
mm,
cultivating friendships. And so that's why I'm learning now that like no friendships are literally the new richness. Like it is the new rich, your friends, because careers and money can shift and change whatever, but like the friendships that you cultivate, that trust, that bond, like if you even ever become homeless one day, somebody's gonna have a couch for you at least, like you have created that bond. And I think it's so important to have that. And so that's why like I've been so curious and diving deeper into this. But I have noticed like, already as adults, like we're not, especially if you're an entrepreneur, how, like I want to know, like, because I know I'm gonna have a lot of entrepreneurs on my podcast. And even if you're someone who works a 9 to 5, like how can you start to create like new friendships that are aligned for you, that feel good, that are worth investing in? Like how can we start to do that, especially if we spend a lot of time alone, like in our day to day?
Darsh, I kid you not, full body goosebumps. Nibbles got hard with that question. I loved it. Full
I
body
love
activation.
that. So we hit the nail.
So, a fun little friendship hack that I love to tell everybody, and this is literally what I will share with everyone. Number one, we are more intuitive than we know. Like before any of us joined intuition, like we are more intuitive than we know. And we can walk into a room, talk to 5 people, and I guarantee you, if you genuinely get in your body and you feel that feeling of the conversation, you can tell whether or not you want to be someone's friend, or if it's someone who you could hang out with like twice a year at parties or like whatever the heck, but you're not going to be calling them at 12 a.m. when you're having a mentee be and like letting them hold space for you, versus the people who you can just be around and you're like, damn, like, no, I would actually want to cultivate a friendship with them. But a fun friendship hack that I always do, and it's literally so fun, works. It's so far it's worked. If I want to be friends with an entrepreneur, as one myself, a lot of us are going to be finding each other online and also maybe in person at like workshops or like retreats or whatever. But a lot of it's going to happen online, whether it's through TikTok and like they follow you back, or whether it's through Instagram or like somebody's listening to your pod, or like it's going to be a lot of online interactions. And so
Mhm.
what I will do if I want to be friends with someone, I will literally book a session or do some type of something with them so that I can get in their
Wow.
energy and they can see mine, and then we see if we vibe. It's like a first date. And
Interesting. I mean, I would probably DM them first for free and like see, but that's
well,
like
so I mean, that's what I did with Danielle. We were friends on TikTok and like you couldn't DM on TikTok at the time, and I was like, "Oh fuck, like I really want to be your friend. How am I going to do this?" And I just booked a session. Turns out we just loved each other and it was great. But earlier this year, I met a girl in person. Coolest freaking girl. When I intuitively test, she's a 95% soul friend match for me. And we would get along so well. Like, we talked for 2 seconds, and I was like, we would be best friends. Like, we would be really close. Well, I didn't like, I went to one of her networking events, but she was surrounded by a bunch of people, and I really couldn't stand her friends. Like, I loved her, but I couldn't stand her friends. And
we've had
Darsh,
friends like that too. I've had
yeah,
friends like that.
it's this interesting thing too. It's like goes into authenticity. Like if I can tell that you're trying to be someone else, or you're trying to change yourself to impress people, or you're trying to like, it was almost like she was Regina George, not in a mean way, but like in a like her friends were like following her like a posse rather than being their own individuals blending energy together. They were acting a certain type of way to, I don't know if it, I don't even know how to describe it. I just saw it going down, and it's what I used to do. That's why I can see it. And it just turned me off. I'm like, I literally don't want to be a part of any of that. But to that point, she and I like had texted her and asked her if we could hang out, and she never replied. But she texts me on Instagram all the time. And so what I decided to do 2 weeks ago, and here's the thing, Darsh, she doesn't communicate great, but I can tell that it's something like I have, right? It's like she's communicating to the best of her ability, and she's not really sure like what the deal is with us. And so she'll reply, she'll text, she'll DM me back. So what I did was I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm going to offer her a free intuitive read because she's like a money queen. She's like a money queen. I'm going to offer her like a mini intuitive read on how to speed up her financial goals for next year. I haven't done it yet, but she was so excited. And my whole plan with this is number one, she's going to get to know me better. Number two, she's going to get to see what I do and be like, oh, like, I know she's going to be interested. That's going to spark conversation most likely. And that will probably open a door for deeper friendship. And if it doesn't, then that's okay, whatever. But I like to get my foot in the door with people who I can genuinely tell, like, we might be having a rough start right now, but I know in 2 years, if you and I actually put in the work, we would be really successful.
How do you gauge that though? Like, what do you look for when you gauge that? Is it because of like where they're at, or like their qualities and attributes? Like, what is it that makes you, you know, kind of navigate that and be like, no, this is worth it?
It's so funny, Darsh, because genuinely for me, I really do think it's authenticity. Because in all of you guys that I have pursued as friends, every single one of you guys has something that is so wildly different than everyone else, and none of you are trying to be like anyone else. So, for example, Darsh, you are Darsh. Like, you're not trying to be Susie Q. Like, Danielle is Danielle. She's not trying to be anyone else. Like, my friend Nikki is not trying to be anyone else. Aaron, not trying to be anyone else. Like, these people are really good at owning what it is they love about themselves, their qualities, and their vulnerability. Like, we all have self image holes and issues, right? But I love how we can all see that and we all admit to it, and we can talk about comparison, and we can talk about how we feel like down in the dumps sometimes. And that vulnerability, I feel like, makes me feel safe.
Yeah, yeah, vulnerability is something I wanna touch on. So authenticity for sure, I feel the same way, but then vulnerability is another thing because I will oftentimes find myself I'm an open book. So I will literally when I meet someone, I'm like, "What's up?" Like, "Let's talk about some deep shit," because I love going deep. Like, I personally do not like surface level conversations, but I do remember you talking about earlier how it seems like you have a list of, like, certain type of friends, like categories for like certain type of friends to have, because I for the longest was like I only want friends that are ready to go deep with me because that's just how I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And while I could create that for myself because manifestation, hello, I guess I wasn't seeing the value in having those other types of friends as well, or like maybe they're not friends to me, they're acquaintances. If you're not like able to go deep with me, you're just an acquaintance, like, because there's nothing really to build on. But vulnerability for me, I would personally think sometimes like I am maybe over vulnerable or like over sharing some of the things because I wasn't able to tell if that person was open to that level of vulnerability that I have, where it's just like, let's just talk about life and be great together. And like, I just have this desire to like just, help people feel good and like believe in themselves. And this has been something that I've been working on in my own life, which is why I love, empowering people. But I would sometimes find that maybe it's not as like that person doesn't, not to say they don't deserve it, but they're just not there yet. So how do we
Mhm.
navigate that vulnerability of like authentic vulnerability where it's landing with the right people, especially like I know for you, you crave that closeness too. Like you value that deepness and depth in your relationships and friendships. Like you're not here to do surface level shit either. So how do we navigate and figure that out of like who can we, you know, create that with and who not to, like that's not the best to create that with.
Doris, you asked the best questions. The best questions. For me, I am also an oversharer, and something that is very important in my friendships is like either you have to go deep or you have to have something that you're really into that I'm like interested in, and I can tell that you go deep just in your own way. So like for example, my friend, she's an incredible baker and she's an incredible designer, and she will go to the nines for everyone, for everything, and she was just such a beautiful soul. But she doesn't really like to have deep conversations, but we're still really close because I can tell that she goes deep in her own way. So she's so into baking. I can tell that she's so into creativity. She's so into design. And I love hearing people talk about what they're into. Like, you could literally be a wood shop cutter, but love it so much. It could fulfill you. You could share your gifts, and it would still light me up. Like, I would still want to be your friend, even if we don't really have the same interest per se, because we still have that same level of passion. And I can see you lighting up. I can see you sharing your gifts. And there's something so authentic and magnetic about that, which I love. But I will say, my closest friends, like she's not my closest friend. She's a good friend, but not close, super close. My closest friends do have that depth and vulnerability, and we can have deep conversations. For the ones who I've had where I will always go deep with you right off the bat. And if you don't share anything about your life, I'm like, okay, well, now I feel awkward. And if people aren't sharing things about their lives to me, that's a huge thing. I genuinely don't want to like be your friend. Or
Yeah,
if you have no
that's a turn
interest, I'm
off.
like,
It's
it's
like, what are you hiding, bitch?
no, I know. And I'm like, okay, so you don't trust me. That's my first thought. I'm like, obviously you don't trust me. And it's not that, right? It's like they don't feel open and comfortable. But I feel open and comfortable. So if you don't, well, then now I feel weird. Now I feel like I have to hold back from you. Like, and I hate that energy so much. Um, so that's kind of where it goes for me. I always show up as myself. And if someone else can't match me, or at least give me a tiny shred of authenticity and like vulnerability of where they're at too, and they're like, "Oh, okay, haha," and then that's it for me. I don't want to be their friend.
So how like what advice would you give to somebody that struggles with creating that emotional vulnerability like within themselves to
Hmm.
attract, friendships where they do feel like more comfortable in being their authentic selves? Like what advice would you give that person that may not feel like you said, like some people just don't open up like that? Like what advice would you give them?
Like what advice would I give to the people who don't open up normally?
Like, yeah, like that may struggle with opening up right in the beginning. Maybe they're shy, maybe they're introverted, or maybe they just have like friendship wounds and they feel like it's hard to trust people right away or like just open up even when cultivating new friendship dynamics. Because this is, I mean, the newness in anything is where people struggle the most, is building that momentum for themselves.
Oh yeah, and I feel like anything new is kind of scary at first too, because it's like you don't know how to act, you don't know who to be, like you don't really know the person, like you don't know their vibe, and that feels scary.
Hmm.
But if I were to talk to someone who doesn't really feel safe to open up to most people, my perception of that, I mean, you could be an introvert, yes, and like you could be one of those protect your peace people until they've earned it, like you're not going to give it up, which fine, like I've heard that before too. But to me, what that says is, again, people don't feel comfortable enough within themselves. And so, either if they give it up, oh my gosh, like, what if I get rejected? What if they judge me? What if they don't like me anymore? Like, I really think it comes back to a self image thing more than like an introvert thing, because
Hmm.
I know tons of introverts and I see right through them. I see right through them if they felt more confident in themselves, if they had more belief in themselves, if they would be more open, and they would be probably more open to receiving different conversation too. Go for it, go for
Wait. So are you saying this is like a whole nother fucking rabbit hole?
it.
Are you saying that most introverts, in your opinion, are technically not introverts and that instead they may actually feel like they don't feel completely safe to fully be themselves?
Okay, here, kind of yes, but okay. Have you ever had an introvert friend where at first they were super quiet, didn't really talk to you very much, and then once you got a little bit closer, they literally will not shut up. They're telling you their life story, they're telling you their interest, and it's a completely different person than you met.
Yeah, it
Like,
was fucking annoying too because I had to do all that work when you could have just started talking right away.
no, and see, and I do think like a piece of it could be like, okay, perfect example. Think puppies. Brand new puppies. Usually, most of the time, brand new puppies will like come up to you. They're pretty playful. They might be doing their own thing, but it's pretty rare to find a brand new puppy that's like scared of people and like doesn't want to come up to people and is like, I only know this because I spent a lot of time with fresh litters of puppies.
Yeah.
Like, They're all just little floppies. They just want to walk and like
I
derp
mean,
around.
even kids though, before they're programmed.
Yes. And so what, but you start to see that happen when like dogs grow up if they get abused, or dogs grow up and like people aren't nice to them, or dogs aren't nice to them. Suddenly, because it's a self-image thing, they become less open to people. Like they become more skittish. They become more scared. They're afraid that people are going to hurt them. They don't trust until they live with a person for 6 months, and then they start to open up. So to me, that's also a people thing. Like if something hadn't have happened in your life that made you believe that you had to be quiet, or you had to, that your vulnerability wasn't safe, or like people aren't going to like you if you take up space, you'd probably be taking up more space. And
That's why I wanted to bring this up, because I feel like I can have my own introverted moments, like where I like my alone time just as much, but I'm also like not like that's not my initial nature. Like that's not,
mhm,
and so I also feel like oh my god, we just literally decoded introverted.
I love it. Yeah.
Like the whole introverted thing, which I love because I notice like especially in the beginning, even like people that I have just even casually meet randomly everywhere, and I can tell how they're a little bit reserved. Or even one guy, I had him literally apologize to me. I was literally having my breakfast like right next to him in another table, and he was talking on the phone, and he literally told me, "I'm so sorry I ruined your conversation." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, you didn't ruin anything. Like, I'm having a great time." But it's crazy, like how even something like that, like people just feel like they're just not safe and worthy of taking up space, and that makes them
Yes.
introverted. Like they're not fully allowing themselves to be themselves, show up whether it's online or in person, or like allow themselves to like be in social interactions. And maybe that's why people have social anxiety too. Like I'm not going to lie, I've had social anxiety before when I wasn't fully rooted and connected and healed my self-image the way I have now, at least at the level that I have right now. But I can totally like relate to that because I've had it at some point too, and it was because and it made me more introverted because I was not feeling that way. So
Yes.
that's wild.
Especially some people too. I'm sure you've had this where like there's people in my life who, Darsh, if you saw me around these people, you'd be like, Gabby, like, who are you? Because suddenly I turn more introverted because I feel uncomfortable around them, because I know that we have absolutely nothing in common. And for some, and like they don't really have that depth, right? Like they cannot for the life of them hold a conversation that's even remotely deep. They don't have any interest. They're very much like lay on the couch people, go out and party on the weekends people. And they're in my life because we have connections through partners and all that kind of stuff. But I feel so constricted, and I get more introverted. Like I literally won't speak because I'm like, what are we going to talk about? I don't want to be myself around you, because it doesn't feel good. And
I
so,
felt that too now that you said it. I've noticed when I felt that way too.
yes.
Annoyed. And then I just want to fucking leave. I don't want to be around those people because I'm like, I can't be myself right now. And I hate that.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of what to look for in a friendship. If you are feeling that, like you can usually tell right away that's not someone who you want to be friends with. But if you're around someone who you can tell they are being their authentic self, they don't really care what other people think, they're like having deep conversation, they're not trying to be like anyone else, to me, that is a marker that I'm like, okay, that is someone who I could be friends with. Or if I feel safe having a conversation, they're able to hold space, or like they're actually interested in asking me questions. I'm like, okay, you have substance. If someone has substance, I'm like, yeah, like maybe we could pursue.
Mm,
But the people who make you like, to me, I will feel like I'm not going to say small, but I'm going to feel like constricted if I'm trying to have a deep conversation and people just aren't reciprocating. And all they want to talk about is like literally nothing. It, stuff that I just don't care about at all. Like
yeah.
I just don't feel safe to be myself.
I also think I used to have this big ass ego, like where it's like I and I mean I still kind of low key do, where in a sense where like I want to like attract people to me, and especially as a projector, like I don't want to do all that extra work and just have my belief field do the work for me and just attract people to me. But I used to have this like big ass ego where I was like I was like, why do I have to like tell them what to do in this friendship? Or like, why do I have to like
Mm.
reach out all the time? And why can't they like reach out more, or like all of this stuff? And that's why I think that like communication piece that you mentioned is so important, because like I don't know if people ever feel that way, especially females in their friendships, but it's like, how do we create that balance within each other then, like with that healthy reciprocity?
Yes. And Darsh, I feel like too, I've done this before where if I
I just
go
want to
like
add on too. Sorry, that's true. So also adding on to that, I also thought about this other day and I was like, okay, so females are wanting to tap more into their femininity, right? So then how do we cultivate even that balance when two females are trying to be in more in their feminine? But then we know that masculine and feminine dynamics, like there's always going to be someone that takes the masculine's like energy in the friendship, right? Even in friendships. But what if two females are working on cultivating their feminine? How do we fucking navigate that and create balance? Like,
Darsh, you'll never believe this, but my friend who's a 1 divided by 3 projector, we literally just had a conversation about this like 2 weeks ago. And
wow.
basically, what we came to is difficult conversations are necessary. If you're both trying to be in your feminine, you need to talk about it, because what'll happen is both parties will end up, it'll feel like a push and pull. Like one person really wants to receive, then the other person wants to receive too, and it's like, "Oh, well that person's not giving to me. Oh, well that person's making it difficult. Oh, that person's not prioritizing me like I want to receive." But which for me, it started creating a little bit of resentment. Like she wanted me to keep driving like an hour out to see her, and it was just like she wouldn't come out to see me, and like it was a whole thing. And so it created this friction. And basically, we had to have a conversation where if we both want to be in our feminine, that's fine, but we need to come together and find a compromise to know that we're both loved and we're both respected, and we're not trying to like take, and have the other person have to give.
Mm. How do you like go about that conversation? Like, what did that look like for you?
Well, honestly, it was easy for me this time because she had just lost a friend for this exact same thing. And so that kind of gave me an open to be like, oh, yeah. So, like, I've actually kind of noticed that too. Maybe we should talk about it. But if this were to happen in, like, let's say, like a different friendship, if I don't feel prioritized and loved, I mean, you can feel it. And we've talked about it before. It's like if you are always the one reaching out, always the one reaching out, and the friend is never reaching out to you, if you were to let them go for 2 weeks, they probably wouldn't text you. Like that, that to me is like okay, I'm giving too much and it's not going to be, it doesn't feel good because it doesn't feel good to receive like that. But I would be like, hey, if this is a friendship I want to pursue, hey, I love you so much. Number one, I just wanted to check in and like make sure we're okay. And number two, I've been feeling a certain type of way, and I know it has nothing to do with you, and I know it's like a me thing, and like, we're all experiencing our own reflections. But to me, it would be really valuable to it. It means a lot to me to have friends that reach out to me first because it makes me feel like you're thinking of me. And it makes me feel like I matter to you, versus if I were to never text you again because I'm always the one putting in the effort, then we would probably never speak again other than Instagram like hearts and comments. And that doesn't make me feel loved. Since I value this friendship so much and I value you so much, I wanted to tell you how I'm feeling so that you and I can come to an agreement, figure this out so we can actually go forward like and both feel loved. That's probably what I would do.
I love that. I love that so much. Literally, queen of communication. I love how you brought that back to you, because I think a lot of people like always point the other way of like, you're not, blah, 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 you're not, blah, 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 and it's like that's when we lose people. I used to do that before I
Yes.
learned like my communication skills, but and especially with like my parents have been a big like big area of life that has taught me a lot about myself. And even with them I still practice that, but it's definitely been a big difference just bringing it back to you. I love that so much. Love that so much.
Dark, you're the best. I love you so much.
I love you too. Okay, so I By the way, I've been like freestyling all my questions right
Love
now,
it.
like ever since, but I'm actually going to go into my little questions thing because I do want to ask you something else and want to make sure that we are able to um
I've got all the time in the world, so I could literally talk to you all day.
I don't want to make this way too long. Maybe like another 10 more minutes or so,
Yeah.
wrap this up because I feel like we talked about so much that even for me, I'm gonna like go back and listen to this because it was so good. But something that, and since you're the manifestation queen, I would love to see how we can create this dynamic. But how can we basically create friendships? And I'm speaking for myself and anybody else that wants to create in this way. How can we create friendships in a way where one, people love us for who we are and not what we do for them, but then two, also where they're basically like low maintenance in a way where like they don't require much from you, but you're always chosen. Like you're always prioritized. You're always the one that people want to hang out with all the time, or that people reach out to all the time, or that people want to be friends with. Like you know how you said that you like literally were actively pursuing the people that you wanted to become friends with. How can you be the receiver of that and like create that dynamic for yourself of like, oh my god, I'm the baddest bitch in the game, like everybody wants to be my friend, and like it makes you feel so loved and so safe in being you, like also like being able to show up the way that you show up without them like making a big deal out of it or anything.
Darsh, this is so fun. I'm not even kidding you. For the first time ever, actually not the first time ever. I feel like girls from Intuition have like messaged me this, but literally probably 3 or 4 days ago, I was selling my couch to a girl, and she walks in, and I immediately know that I like her. I'm like, oh my god, like she's so cool. Well, couple. I don't know, couple sentences in, she's like, "Oh my god, I love your energy." She's like, "Would it be so weird if we became friends?" And I was like, no, I love that. I literally love your energy too. And so we got each other's Instagram. She's like, yeah, like anytime you're in Boulder, like let's hang out. She leaves. I intuitively test. She's a 94% soul friend match to me. And she suggested we be friends and not you, like, I don't know.
Amazing. Yes,
But
that's what we want.
what I would say to people who are just getting into this is there are physical things and there are emotional things that need to come together for any manifestation to happen. So, the physical things, what I would perceive to be physical things, are number one, stop hanging out with people who do things that you don't like to do and who, when you hang out with them or when you go to these places, you don't feel energized, you don't feel happy. Like, you want to make sure that you are doing the things and putting yourself in the room and in the places of things that you actually enjoy. So, for example, intuition. I have never made so many friends so fast because we are all so deeply into the same things. And even then, out of the 40, 50, 60 people or whatever we've met so far, I'm really only close with like six. But again, you put yourself where you want to be, you put yourself in the room, and do the things that you genuinely enjoy. That's like such a big piece of the physical side of things, because if you continue doing things that you genuinely enjoy, that's the physical. You'll eventually find people who are into the same stuff as you and who probably want to be your friend. Number two, the emotional side of things. Again, this has only happened to me. I mean, it's probably happened like 4 times, but as far as like consciously, just the other day, people pursuing me, what I've been working on, the emotional side of things. You need to be rooted to how you are the best of the best and how it can literally only be gotten from you. And you cannot be afraid of rejection. Rejection is uncomfortable. People are feel weird. You know, it's like online dating, right? It's like you people don't know how to act around each other. If someone doesn't text you back and you want to be friends with them, okay, that doesn't mean anything about you. How are they missing out? How is this not the time for them? So for me, really getting on, why am I the best of the best friend? Why am I the coolest person to hang out with? Why do I make people feel so loved? Like, that's a big one. I know I make people feel loved, like more than anyone else. And so the more I get rooted to the qualities that I provide in a friendship, because just who I am, that's how people start to pursue you.
Wow. I love that last piece that you said because I know that I do this a lot for people, but I have not been even recognized. I'm so glad I asked this question. And I know for a lot of people listening, this is also going to be so valuable because, yeah, like that one, that's something that's so easy for us to just connect to, emotionally connect to, of like how I help people feel seen and loved. And that's why I'm the best of the best, and just those core things that you want to root to. And also the fact that you had even said like that, out of like the 40 something people whatever in our little training mastermind, whatever it is, whatever we want to call it, you have made 6 solid friends from that, right? Has there ever been a time for you where you felt like, you know, you had to pursue those friendships in the like keeping up in the little signal chats, or like keeping up in the, is like all of those people just reached out to you?
Oh my gosh, Darsh, full body goosebumps again. These friendships, no, I don't feel like I have to pursue. But again, it's because we're all in the same room versus the people who I see online. It's like we're not necessarily in the same room. I'm just seeing a TikTok that I really love, or like I'm listening to a podcast. And I'm like, I love your energy. But since we're all in the same room, I don't really have to pursue. But that said, lots of people, there's probably at least 4 who have reached out to me, and like we will practice together or something, but I can tell we're not super compatible as friends. Like we get along just fine and like we're fine, but I can tell both of us are just like we don't we're not our people.
Right. Yeah.
Versus the other people, it just feels natural. And you're one of those people, it genuinely feels so natural, like you make people feel so cared about too, like and those types of things I feel really safe with, versus other people might feel closed off, or they might feel boring, or they might feel like just something different than me, and for some reason where it's just not, the puzzle pieces aren't fitting together.
I've definitely felt that with the same group that we're a part of as well. Except I I would say like I would love to be more close with people, but I haven't really, like my number is a lot shorter of like the people that I, maybe it's just because of my standard. Like the way that I have, or like the frequency creates more closeness for me. Like I personally am realizing and understanding about myself that I actually love frequency, but I also like love it in on my terms, I'm not gonna lie. There's times where I'm like super social, and then there's times where I'm like, I can't. And I'll literally like throw my phone away for the whole weekend, and I'll just be in La La Land somewhere. And then I'll be like, I'm back.
I love it.
But it's interesting. And I love that you share that, because I think it's definitely the self-image thing, and the best of the best and how it can only be gotten for me makes you become and feel special, and people always want what's special. It's like another way of like feeling special, which is like one of the biggest keys to self-image. Okay, so I have like 2 more questions that I want to ask you, and then I like, I want to wrap this up. So one of my questions is for someone, if someone's listening right now and they may currently feel lonely, and I do feel like a lot of the world actually feels lonely, even if they may
Yeah.
look like they have a shit ton of friends. People are just not talking about this, but I do know, and me included, like I felt this. It's been a big feeling in my life personally too, of feeling lonely, and feeling like they're starting from scratch when it comes to their friendships, especially like adult friendships, and like creating that sisterhood, right? That we all like deeply crave. What's the first small thing that they could do this week, starting this week, to like help them start in that journey of creating that for themselves?
So the question is, what if you want like the sisterhood, the closeness with friendships, like what can they start to do to cultivate that?
Yeah, like if they feel like they're starting from scratch when it comes to
Mm.
those kind of friendships that they desire to have. Like what's one small thing that they can start doing to help them on that track? Especially if they feel lonely and they feel like they don't really have a lot of friends.
So this is such a good question. I used to feel really lonely like back in the day, but it's been a while, so I can't fully obviously emotionally connect to like what it's like in that sense. But I will say where I would start every single person, and I swear to God, had I done this, I would have met all of you guys so much earlier. Like, I would have cultivated an even deeper friendships now than I had then. But what I would always start with, and this is like with every manifestation, number one, write out a list of the type of friends that you want to attract. It's literally setting the destination. So if you want to go to gelato or if you want to go to New York, you have to type in where you're going, where you want to go in the GPS to finally get there. And to me, that's number one, step one. What kind of friends do you want to attract? Okay, perfect. What qualities do you like in a friend? How do you want to feel in your friendships? Get really clear on that, especially if you're feeling lonely. Because if you're feeling lonely, we can get to the destination, but we have to know what place to like point the compass first. So I would make a list of like qualities that you desire in a friendship, how you desire to feel. Number two, a teeny tiny thing that you can do, literally ask yourself, why would I be any like the bestest friend? Like, why would anyone be lucky to have me as a friend? Those are two super simple things that you can start. And I do want to give one more tip, especially for the people who are like literally starting from scratch, is do those two pieces first. But number two, Darsh, have you ever seen or experienced where like online dating, where maybe like a guy has like a profile or whatever, and then you go and meet him and he looks completely different than he does in the photos? Like,
All the fucking time.
so that is the same.
And I'm not manifesting that, but
No, exactly. But see, what happens is, especially when people are starting from scratch, there's usually a worthiness thing, right? There's usually a fear of abandonment. There's usually a fear of loss, or like a fear of I'm not good enough, or a fear of like, are they actually going to stay? Is it actually going to vibe? Like, does it mean anything about me? Like, or they've had friend trauma in the past. Like, but what people will do, and I've seen this and I've done it myself, is they will try to make themselves look better on paper and like people please and like try to be like, oh, well, I like that stuff too. And I'm like, really? Have you ever actually seen that show? Like, oh, well, I've seen two episodes. It's like being your authentic self. Post, I'll use it in the dating example. Post pictures that you actually look like. Post things that you would actually talk about, and I'm telling you, you would get your partner so much quicker. And guys would too. It's the same with friendships. People can feel when you're trying to be something that you're not to impress them or try to make them stay. And so you don't want to do that. You don't want to be the catfish friend. You want to be your authentic self, and those people will naturally start to like you. A tree doesn't grow overnight, too. Like, we're planting the seeds, right? We're deciding what kind of friends we want to have. We're starting to get rooted to why we're special, why we're the best of the best, why people would be lucky to have us. And then we're starting to own our authenticity. And that is the equivalent of planting a tree and watering it every single day. Eventually, it's going to grow. It might take a while, but eventually it's going to turn into a tree. Eventually, you're going to naturally start to attract those friends without even having to try, because you're being a magnet to them. And sometimes you might have to try. I try, but I don't mind trying because I think it's fun.
yeah, I don't mind trying either. I just like to try less.
Well, the nice thing with you, Darsh, is you are so magnetic, right? You're posting your Instagrams. I see you on TikTok and I literally stop and I'm like, oh, like it just feels like a ray of sunshine. I'm like, I have to watch this whole video. Like it just
I've
feels
been
so good.
obsessed with TikTok lately, by the way. Like, I enjoy it so much more than Instagram, mainly because it feels more accepting and it feels more
Yeah.
free than like Instagram. Like, I feel like I can just literally push play and talk and post and like get my message out there literally so easily. And I think that's one of the biggest things in how I want to feel in my friendship is just feel at home. Just feel
Yeah.
safe at home. Like, I can just be me and just have a great time.
I love it. Yes, exactly.
But I
Oh,
love that. I love that you feel that. I've been feeling that too about the TikToks that I've been making. Which, if you guys are not following me on TikTok, I am more active on there. And then all I do is just repurpose my TikToks onto Instagram now. The only thing is, I'm more active on the Instagram stories because that's still something I'm like used to. So it's kind of, it's fine. It's all perfect. Okay. So I want to wrap this up with one more question before we finish this conversation. And I feel like you touched upon it a little bit, but like I want to know if you have any other like suggestions. But Okay, so what would you wish someone had told you about female friendships? And I mean healthy, fulfilling, loving female friendships a couple years ago that you know now that would have saved you so much heartache?
Wow. Oh my gosh, Darsh. I feel like the biggest thing is women are not out to get you. Women are not out to get you. Um, Real healthy friendships, beautiful people, they will not be intimidated if you DM them first and you ask them to hang out. Even if they don't reciprocate, doesn't mean anything about you. Like it literally doesn't mean anything about you. And had I known that, I would have been so much more confident because I was so judging myself every single day. And so I assumed that, oh, these high quality friends, like, they wouldn't want to be friends with someone like me. Or like, oh, like that girl's really cool, but like she would, I'm not good enough, or like she's gonna judge me or any of that. And the reality is, the high quality people, number one, they're not judging you because they're not really judging themselves. They're really open, they're really sweet. Like Darsh, like perfect example. And if for some reason a girl does not vibe with you, a female friend does not vibe with you, or someone you want to hang out with doesn't vibe with you, again, it doesn't mean anything about you. Why are you still the best of the best? Their favorite ice cream flavor might be vanilla. Does that mean chocolate is worse? No. It just might be that you're not their flavor, which also means that they're not your flavor too.
Mm.
And so for me, that was the biggest thing, right? Like I was so afraid of these women because I was so afraid of judgment and not feeling good enough. But if you just know that women are not out to get you, and it literally doesn't mean anything about you if it's not reciprocated, that's just a sign, okay, I'm not their flavor of ice cream. Perfect. That means they're not mine either. Move on to the next one. Eventually someone's gonna love me or like what I'm giving. What is
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been really cool with the whole self-image thing of just like turning the tables around of like how well this person's not for me. It's because I don't really like everybody, to be honest. Like even though I love people and one of my soul gifts is love, like I have the capacity to really love and I love hard and I really do. It doesn't mean that I love everybody. And what I mean by this is just because I am so open and I really love people, it doesn't mean that they are meant to be in my life and they are for me. Like even with people that I may disagree with in my life, like I can accept people for the way that they are and still disagree with the shit that they say. But I
Mhm.
respect that they still have an opinion and they're rooted to that. Like I can still respect that even though I disagree with it. So it's the same. I'm learning now more than ever that it's the same for me. I think for me, I've been working on the not good enough wound for a long time, and like the worthiness. And for me it was also like an ego thing of like what you said, like me reaching out to somebody. I'm like, why, like who the fuck am I to, like, why am I doing this? Like people should just come to me. But it is an ego thing that I'm working on myself of like it's okay to reach out to somebody and want to hang out with them and like tell them that you want to be their friend, and that's okay. Like we probably need to normalize that more than ever, because
Yes.
I don't think women are actually doing that in the DMs. Like I don't think that they're probably expecting, like you said with your friend, like they're probably expecting to hear that, but they're not initiating when they could. And I think that's what's causing
Yes.
a lot of friction in feeling more safe to like, do that with each other and create that balance with each other. So honestly, like I'm a changed woman today. Like I'm actually going to start reaching out to people I may want to hang out with and like not just feel like, oh, they need to come to me, which I still want to create that for myself. Like I would say 80% of the time people do that and then 20% I do, because it
Darsh,
just feels good this way. And we're on a whole new feminine era, so might as well go balls to the wall with it.
dude, yeah, okay. One thing that I wanted to add too was I wanted to be your friend last September. Like I really did. I was like, "Oh my god, like I should look her up, like I should reach out." But I didn't have the self-image yet to do so. And I remember literally thinking like, "Holy shit, like she's so cool. Like I like I'm not cool enough yet." And
I don't
then
know how
suddenly
people get intimidated though, because I'm literally like a fucking golden retriever. Like
No, but that just goes to show it's like an internal thing, right? So if you guys are
Oh,
struggling having friendships, making friendships, it's like turn the mirror back in. Like again, women are out to get you. Darsh, you would have been so receptive if I texted you and been like, "Oh my god, like I just saw you in the Q&A, like you're cool as fuck, like I would love to hang." Like I know you would have been like, "Oh my god, girl, absolutely."
yeah.
See,
I am
but
with anybody that wants to pursue me.
yeah, see, but we have it in our heads that people are gonna like reject us or think that we're weird or like whatever. And then so or like we're not ready or we're not good enough, so then we don't. But like if you can stop making things mean so much about not you, but like everybody, stop making things mean so much about you can put yourself out there and if someone doesn't reciprocate, it doesn't matter. And you just keep doing it if you feel called. And now that I'm in
I think
intuition, I feel more brave.
I think I probably feel I have felt that way with pretty bitches because I've been working on attraction, like physical self-image myself as well, and the whole attraction piece. And I like having a pretty bitch gang. Like I like having pretty bitches around. Like we love the aesthetic. We love like pretty things. And so when I used to like, and I'm still working on it and I'm getting better and better now more than before, but like when I would perceive somebody that's prettier than me or that has all the success and the looks and like all of these qualities that I know that I have, but like they just have it all, like the whole package. And then I would want to be their friend. Like I would feel a little bit of that myself because I'm like,
Yes.
why would they want to be friends with somebody like me? But now knowing what I know about innate value and self-image is that people are not looking for how much you have, they're looking for how you make them feel. So then at the end of the day, like just how I would think how she would make me feel, like she would probably think the way that I would make her feel too. And if I didn't, then that's okay because at least I found out for myself, and that's what I owe it to myself at least.
I love that. Yeah, Darch, phenomenal.
This conversation was so like transformative. Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna need to like re-listen to this episode a few times to like grab all the golden nuggets because I'm still on that whole friendship thing. I think for me, I just need to actually reach out and like put myself out there more. Like I do have my limits with social media because like I have this thing where I'm just like not the type of person that scrolls anymore. Like I'm like
Mhm.
cultivating that identity right now. And so for my own mental health and like living my life outside of social media versus like on social media, but I do want to like cultivate more of that. Like I'll tell you this as a projector, you know how we have this like whole thing as a projector of like wait for the invite, like don't go up to
Mhm.
thing. I have actually felt that for the longest in person of like going up to people just makes me fucking cringe. Like unless there's eye contact and I'll wait then I'll say hi, but like just like I don't know how people feel so comfortable doing that cuz for me I'm like no bitch come to me. Like I don't feel I feel like I'm intruding someone's space by like going up to them and trying to like be like, "Hey, you my
Okay, perfect for you. Literally, when you're building out your list of your ideal friendships that you desire to attract and cultivate, literally put that as part. Like the people who I'm meant to be friends with, like they come up to me. Like my energy magnetizes it to them. Like if that's a quality you want, literally do it. You can program anything.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Manifestation queen. I'm glad I fucking brought this up. Because I'm like, am I just being a conceited ass bitch right now? Like, am I just being like just so lazy with this? But I'm like, no, like if I get to have it the way I want to, why not? And it's not that I won't ever like pursue anybody, but it's just
Mhm.
I think for me, I've also spent so much time in my masculine for a majority of my life. And I
Yes.
used to pursue people and give my time and energy to people that did not reciprocate with me because I wanted to be their friend so badly. And so I've learned now that no more. Like I'm going the whole other way.
I love that. Yeah, I love it, Darsh. Amazing.
Oh, thank you so much for just being on this podcast and sharing your wisdom. Like, I know that my listeners and whoever listens to this podcast in the future is going to be fucking blessed with this kind of wisdom that we both shared and talked about. Cause like I do know that, everyone's talking about relationships out there so much and like secure attachment and detachment when it comes to relationships, like romantic relationships, but no one's really like diving into friendships. And I know that
Yeah.
that's something that people are craving and that they want, that feels like a missing piece in their lives, and that is essential in their lives, but they don't really like know how to navigate that because no one's really talking about it. So we are literally like fucking changing lives just with this conversation. So
I'm so
also, i
grateful.
want i want you to share, like, where can people find you to learn more from you?
Oh my gosh, thank you, Darsh. You can find me at Gabby Coded on Instagram and TikTok. That is where I'm at. You can also find my podcast, The Lens of Abundance podcast, where we see the things that you don't like through an abundant lens and help you shift your life. But yes, feel free to DM me on Instagram. That is usually where I hang out. And Darsh,
Amazing.
I really hope, like, your thing is friendships. My thing is like I want to be more authentic in career. So if you could come on my pod, we could do an episode on that, because you are someone who I genuinely just, I feel that from, and I want to learn from that. And I know people who listen to my stuff too would really love that. So
Yes. Oh my god, I'm so
yes.
down for that. I would love that. Thank you for thinking of me for that. And also, I don't know. I know that you have an offer coming out again. I know that you just
Yes.
finished the launch of your alignment codes workshop, but I know that you're gonna launch that again. So do you want to like just quickly share that so that in case anybody listens now and they want to like follow your work, at least they have like somewhere where they can at least get more connected with you.
Darsh, you are so sweet. Look at you being an incredible friend.
Yeah.
Yes, I have an alignment codes program. It was my very first workshop ever, and it was so incredible. It is a deep dive into how to create, how to manifest and create the things that you actually desire in life. And this, you can access the replay, but this time it was really focused around money. And the next time we'll kind of, I use my intuition to see what you guys need and would benefit from the most. But again, we figure out where the actual problem is, we shift it, we learn the tools to actually help you align with what it is you want in the easiest, most aligned way possible. So it was so much fun. If upgrading your money and learning how to manifest from start to finish and becoming magnetic to the things you desire to attract without having to try is a part of something you're interested in, that is where alignment codes comes in. And I would love to see you there.
Amazing. Okay, so you said that the replay is available for purchase
Yes. So
on
the
the website.
replay is available, and then I'm going to do it one more time live in December of 2025. And then that will be the prereq to any future courses we do in the future. Because again, I mean, Darsh knows, we talked about it. Self love, self image, how you view yourself with money, with career, with relationships will determine what you receive and attract. And so just starting off, you don't need to go further. But if you did want to start somewhere, it is so powerful, impactful.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to make sure all the links are in the description box of the podcast so that people can easily find you, and also the alignment codes offer as well. And I will also even say, like, guys, Gabby is a badass bitch when it comes to money. Like, she makes bank. She runs the Airbnb business, and she also has her, coaching, manifestation, soul pool business as well. And she's like a serial entrepreneur, like I am. So we're both on this like $1 million vision fucking train of what we see for our businesses. So definitely like somebody that I would want to learn from as well when it comes to money. And if you haven't hit like certain levels in your business or in your personal life. And I will say too that like even everything that you probably share around money, like you can also implement in other areas of your life, like even friendships, because the self-image work and all of that is always like foundational for anything. So
Yes,
yeah.
so true. Oh my gosh,
Amazing.
Spark, thank you for having me. I want to cry.
Of course. I'm so happy you're here and I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Of course, I love you always. Thank you for having me.